So now we've already learned how to paint clouds. So I am going to go ahead and do a quick study of what we've learned in 15 minutes here, so that what I want to demonstrate with this painting is that you can actually take whatever you learn in Seascapes course or in Seascape lessons that we did and apply it to any of your landscape work. So these are basic fundamentals of watercolor, and which is why it is always going to help you paint further once you understand how to apply the lessons in your watercolor painting. So I taught you the clouds, right? So this is what I did: a background. I'm going to lift the way we lift, and these are our clouds. I painted the gradient first, and I'm now lifting for cloud. I am dabbing it because I want it to not be too stark white, and I want it to already have the shadow. So yeah, I'm just lifting it so that I don't have to paint much when it comes to shadow work. And now I'm going to use my brush to lift a little so that it looks like those wispy clouds. And yeah, that's about it. So I've got some smaller clouds for distance. I always feel this is something that adds so much dimension, and it's such a small thing to do, add smaller clouds, and it totally changes the way the depth of your landscapes or the seascapes look. So yeah, I've got that in. Now I'm going to go and deepen the paper white here because I want it to be white. So since the paper is wet, my brush wasn't able to lift enough, so I improvised here. And now I'm done with my background. I'm going to quickly dry my paper. So now I am going to apply yellow here because I'm going for the grass blades. So here is my yellow. So I mixed yellow with blue, ultramarine, whichever is your sky. You can take that color, cobalt blue, ultramarine blue, anything works. And then once you have that layer in, just pulling the paint up for the grass blades. I didn't do that in the first go because I don't think we need so much details on the lower level. We will be going in with a darker shade. So here I'm mixing yellow with ultramarine blue, and this is my darker shade of green. So once this is semi-dry, and this is like really I want to show you the consistency. This is like a tea-like consistency right now. So if I go in wet on wet, it will bloom and will not give me the impact that I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just drop it on the bottom here. There are many ways to paint this. I am going with a little bit of wet on wet because I want those, the softness. Now I'm going to dry my paper and then go back in painting my darker green. So now I'm mixing ultramarine blue with my Hansa yellow, and I'm getting a darker, deeper green. I'm going to just draw some blades. Now this is almost like a dry brushing because I want those blades to look natural and have that light. And then you can go flick your brush in either direction. Right now we're not going in for detail. We're going more for the feeling of blades, grass blades, rather than paint each blade. So I'm kind of being loose, but at the same time I'm being mindful that it doesn't look like it doesn't belong there, or it doesn't look too unnatural. Now this is a creamy consistency paint, because you see, this is what I want. I want those blades to deepen, but I also want them to look natural. So there is light hitting at some places, there is dark at some places. Now finally what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix my green again. This time it's going to be more yellow, and then I'm going to try and paint some more blades. And then finally I'm going to go across my paper and then lift it. Now here is the call that you need to take, whether you want it to now have a now is the call that you need to take. You want to do splatters to give that natural look. You want to create flowers. Now this is where you make decisions which are not part of your original composition or the reference. So here I'm only going with pure yellow and making some blades that look like that's where the sun is hitting, and these are shadows. So I'm going from top to bottom because the sun will be hitting on the top. You should try using a thinner brush if your brush doesn't have a tip like this, because your grass blades will otherwise have like a thickness on the top which you don't want. So it's like here. Now there's a difference in how this would look. Going in with the creamiest consistency, as you can see here, this is going to be creamy. I am going to dab this on my paper towel here before I go in on the paper, and then this is how thin this is. You see, even if I want it to be thicker, it's not going to be. So there is very less chances of me ending up with a blob or any mistake. So that's my, I know we always say go light to dark, we can't paint with light over dark, but this is, since I'm going with a creamy consistency and I'm also going on a dry paper, and I am also trying to go with a dry brush technique, it's working for me. Now I'm going to do is add the darker green on the base. Once I'm done with this, I'm going to add a little yellow here, and then I'm going to do some dark blades. This is for the shadow effect, and I'm only doing it on the base. So like I mentioned, what do you want to do next? You want to do splatters, or you want to do flowers, you want to do wildflowers, whatever you want to do. Now is the time when you're going to take that decision for yourself and for your painting, what you like. I'm going to go in with splatters. And these blooms will make it look very natural. So that's our painting. We used our same fundamentals, we used dry brushing, we used everything that we learned. I'm going to take off the tape. And that's our painting for today. We used the same fundamentals. We used our background gradient. We use the way we painted our clouds on those days, on the in the challenge. We use the same technique of using dry brushing. We use the consistency to our advantage, where we talked about tonal values. I've used light dark tonal values here. So now you see how you can elevate your paintings by just knowing the fundamentals. And you can paint any reference if you know your basics right. So that was my whole intent behind doing this quick painting with you guys today, so that I can share more about how you can use what you've learned today in your everyday painting. But if you'd like to go deeper into all of this, I'm always here, and we have this registration open for my watercolor oceans and lakes course, where I go deeper into all these techniques